Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chaz Kayato, and the topic of today's discussion is planning for longevity, specifically in relation to being involved in education. So this time of year, when I'm recording this video, is the end of the school year, and it's a time when people are thinking about, their plans for the future. A lot of the girls are talking about, in 4 years, I want to do X, Y, and Z, or if they know that they're going to plan on going to a program after undergraduate, they're saying in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, etc. And so it gives you a sense of planning for something longer than the immediate future. Another example of something recent is I just bought a new truck, and so uh, the my old truck, my previous truck, I've had for well over a decade. Matter of fact, if you combine the really on average, after I graduated high school, outside of my first vehicle, I've had each of my vehicles for an average of 10 years. And so my new vehicle I plan to also have for well over 10 years. And that is a plan for longevity. It is a plan understanding that there's going to be a long-term approach that's taken. So, especially in our day and age, just to talk about cars again, it's been in recent years, you've seen more and more people who either just lease cars for 2 years and then they, turn them back in, and they just have this endless cycle of constantly paying for new vehicles, or, a constant buy a vehicle, but you're going to trade it back in 2 to 3 years later to get a new one. And so there's no longevity there. And so relating that back to education, I think it's important for educators to not just have plans for next year. The plans for next year are great, and you need those plans. You need to know what you need to do to be successful for next year. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a longer term plan. And that goes hand in hand with some of the other videos that I've done where I've been talking about different programs like my doctorate program, or getting a certification or getting a master's. It's maybe some of those programs can be done in a shorter amount of time, but you still have a long-term reason for doing those programs. So essentially what I think you need to do is you need to have your immediate 1 year plan, you need to have your 5 year plan, you need to have your 10-year plan, but not just having those plans, but understanding how those plans build on each other. That's the longevity that we're talking about. So for instance, getting the doctorate, that's a challenge in itself. And so part of the reason I'm getting the doctorate, or working on getting a doctorate, is the challenge itself, just doing something difficult, which humans do like to do things that are difficult because it gives you a sense of accomplishment, but it is also a means to an end. So if I do want to move to an administrative position at some point in the future, I have a master's and a doctorate in education that will show that I have spent time learning about how to be the best educator I can possibly be. And so the longevity there is, I'm setting myself up for potential moves, moving up in the school system, and becoming an administrator. But that doesn't mean I have to be, right? It just gives me the option. A lot of the things that you learn can also just make you a better teacher. And so even if you plan on teaching for 30 years and you have no aspirations to do anything other than being a teacher, it still may behoove you to go and get a master's or a doctorate, because maybe it will increase the amount of money that you can make Once again, longevity. So that is more of a fiscal longevity. You're spending a little bit, not just a little bit, it is a lot for many of these programs. But you're spending money now in order to be more financially secure later in your career, probably when you're close to retirement. And so I do know that some school districts, probably most school districts, your retirement could be based on how much you made as a full-time teacher, right? If it's not a 401k that you have. So making more money down the road could benefit you. So another thing with longevity, I've talked about this before, is I'm certified in multiple subjects, 4 subjects right now, but I also want to be certified in at least 2 to 3 more. And so why? Because that gives me more ability to be needed at any school that I would want to teach at or work at in general. The more I can bring to the table, the more reason I give that school a reason to hire me or retain me for future school years, right? So that is a plan that adds to my longevity. I'm thinking long term. I know that in order to stay competitive, because we don't know the future. We don't know, we don't know how demographics will shift in any given area. We've seen this happen in many places where you either have a large influx of people and, the school system, new schools get built and maybe you want to go work in that new school, or maybe a lot of people move out of the area that you live in. And then if you want to be a teacher, you either need to be more competitive for the jobs that remain at the school that you're at, or you need to go find a job somewhere else. That also happens. So there are reasons that you would want to establish yourself, establish more credibility as a teacher, and add to the amount of things that you can do, because we're establishing longevity. We're making a long-term plan, not just for next year, but the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and maybe even the entirety of your career. And, I speak as an educator, but in reality, this could be something that you could do with any career field, right? So, once again, we don't know the future of many different fields, but you can still plan. And the more prepared you are, the easier it is to pivot when things change. That's just a sports analogy where, there's really no such thing as luck, right? Or luck is... luck really goes to who's more prepared, right? So the more prepared you are when things change, you are in a position to take advantage of those changes, or at least to react to those changes better than someone that's caught off guard. And that is a part of longevity, because very few people are going to go through a 30, 40 plus year career with no changes, right? Whether that be changing school districts, whether that be just changing careers at all. At some point, many people make a major change, and the more you have planned for the future, the easier it is going to be for you to adapt to those changes. So the main idea of this video is planning for the long term, but having that longevity in mind. How can I be successful in the future? It's one thing to say, I want to be a principal one day, but take no action in order to do that. I mean, there are people that would consider that planning, right? Oh yeah, I plan to become a teacher. That's not really planning. Planning is actually writing down the things that you need to accomplish in order to get to where you need to be. That's true planning. So I hope you guys are inspired by this video to go and write down some of the things that you want to do, and maybe start taking action in order to increase your longevity in your career path. If you have anything you want to add, please put it down below in the comments. And I really enjoy hearing from you guys. Y'all have a great day.